Welcome to Wine by the Case. I'm Alexis, uncorking legal insight one, not two, bottles at a time, Chris.
You keep breaking my heart. I want to do 4 a case. We'll get to it.
So, not that the shirt may be a little, what is it? In English, it's called a
double entendre is what it's called in French.
So we have an interesting legal story for you today. Chris, would you like to tell us the story?
I am so excited to do this story time because it involves so many fun things. But to do it, got to change. All righty.
So for our listeners, I have on an OnlyFans shirt with fans. And Chris now has on the nun's hat.
The nun's habit here. I have on the nun's habit. My mother would be so proud. And I also have the very important accessory that my dad said every nun he had in Catholic school had. Ruler. Because we are dealing with a very, very naughty young man.
Naughty.
And it's a crazy case. It's a Florida man case because, of course,
yeah, that's right. Florida man.
It has to be a Florida man case because, other places like, no, they wouldn't do this stuff. So we have police officers.
Oh, they do this stuff.
Not as badly. The tropic heat doesn't get to them. But this police officer in Florida was driving his vehicle in a school zone, watching porn as he's driving in the school zone, and he rear-ended the person in front of him.
And so that wasn't bad enough. A school zone rear-ends the person. And unfortunately, he was being really naughty, right, Chris? What was he doing? And we don't even have to say allegedly.
No.
What was he doing at the time?
So keep in mind that, police officers are public servants and their vehicles most of the time are outfitted with
cameras.
So not
dashboard, and they have cameras on themselves.
Right, on the interior. So this young man was driving, holding up his cell phone, watching. He was watching some very explicit sexual
porn. Let's just say it. He was watching porn. He was watching porn.
Okay.
I do not know.
Hand out.
I do not know if it was OnlyFans, and not the ones that are about fans that spin around and cool you off, because he was not cool. He was hot.
He was definitely hot.
He was coming in hot.
Of course, whenever you have an accident, they have to investigate.
Yes.
Regardless of whether you're private sector employee or public sector, particularly public sector, and a police officer, they want to make sure there's not a problem with the vehicle, all that sort of thing. His story was starting to fall apart.
Well, no. First, he was lying. Where's the ruler?
Yep.
He was lying, but then he came clean.
A little clean, because he said he was texting his colleagues, none of whom were going to agree with that.
Initially, yeah.
And then he said, well, he was watching boobs and whatnot.
Yes, he did. People, he said boobs. Oops. He said boobs.
Yeah.
He said boobs.
We're turning the hand this time.
As my stepson, when he was in middle school, would say, boobies.
So he admitted that. But still, we got a public sector employee. So he's got all these due process rights, which you don't have in the private sector. We can hire and fire anybody we want without having to worry about investigations, hearings, having the ability to.
Well, we still need to document the files.
We should. And again, as the employment whisperer here, I always believe an investigation, even if you're like, I have you on surveillance, it should still be done, because you never know what people are going to say. You really don't. So in this case,
they did that.
They did. They followed the rules, and he saved everybody the trouble and probably saved his pension by going, you know what? I'm just going to resign, because he could have gone through the process.
Well, I think he did fess up. He did fess up too. And they could have
only boobs, though. He didn't fess up to much more. Boobs and whatnot.
Well, yeah, but you're right. I think that you're correct what you just said, but also he potentially could have, been charged, because he did lie during an investigation. As well as
driving distracted in a school zone, violating their rule on driving, and let's add insult to injury, he was not wearing his seatbelt.
Oh yeah, he wasn't, and from an employment standpoint,
really, that's against the law in Florida.
But also was against the policies of the
police department,
and he said he didn't care.
Right. Again,
he thought it was better. I think he didn't say he didn't care. I think he said, I believe I can perform my job better by getting out of the car without a seatbelt than if I had one, which, as the employment whisperer, does that, your opinion matter
Nope.
when it's a company policy?
You do not get to substitute your personal judgment for not only the judgment of your employer, but here, the state of Florida, that says you must wear a seatbelt while driving. I mean, this has been established for a long time, regardless of what you as an individual citizen might want to say.
Yeah.
But
I mean, also, he opens up as the employment whisperer, he opens up the liability to the police department, because let's not forget, he did rear end a person to the point where the airbags went off.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Hopefully that person was not badly hurt.
Well, at the time they said they didn't think they were injured, but we know a week later there's a PI attorney who's like, "Oh yes, you're
badly injured." But in all fairness,
there's liability here.
But in all fairness, there was enough impact for the airbags in the police car to go off. Right. So that does take a certain amount. I'm not an engineer, but a certain amount of force to do that.
But you are wearing, fans, appealing to the engineering community.
So do you think, since you're the employment whisperer, that they handled the situation the best way to get him to resign?
This one couldn't have gone better for the employer, in my opinion. They did everything they should. They didn't ignore the fact that, oh, well, we have them watching porn. They followed the rules. They followed the due process, which put them in a position to look at him and go, dude, you really want to do this for the next 2 years? Because we kind of know what the end result is going to be. So with that end result, he saved everybody the trouble. He saved all of the money regarding appeals. I mean, he has all these rights. So it's kind of nice that he did it. But I mean,
without saying names, there are certain cases that we both know about where that did not happen, not with the police department, but another entity, governmental entity, and it went on for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, the fact that he didn't think about the fact that he had a camera, looking at what he was doing and holding it up. Back to the OnlyFans shirt.
So I am like dying to know exactly what he was looking at during that was so compelling that he, felt he needed to do that then and there.
Well, but, and again, so, we can maybe find out with public records request, because that investigation is over. And after 30 days, we can find out. Or
actually, can somebody do the public records request and then tell
us what he was watching
in the comment exactly what he was watching. But this goes to our wine of the day.
Back to being naughty. Send nudes. I mean, come on. How much more perfect can you get than that? It's a nice rosé, and I love the fact that it has at the bottom, call me when you need more.
Which is my shirts. So whole marketing.
and let's face it, and what we do for a living, this is not the kind of text we want to see our clients sending each other.
No.
Or if you're going to get one, make sure it's not on the company phone.
Well, I would just say in general, even if you're not at work, I would say it's like a boyfriend situation or even a husband situation. I would second guess maybe if that's such a great thing. But that's just my personal opinion, not my legal opinion.
Right. I will say this. There's in the forensics industry where, we kind of have to drop off stuff to let them take a look at it. They will tell you that approximately 70-something% of the computer equipment they have to review and research has porn on it. So
I have to tell you from a personal standpoint that I think it's funny because my husband, both of our husbands are attorneys, and my husband is always tells these stories to people that you're talking about what Chris just said. And I think it's funny. So I just send him really dirty stuff. So if anybody subpoenas my phone, they're going to be entertained.
Yes. Well, and cheers again. I'm hoping this is
Wait, we haven't even done cheers. Okay.
Ooh, I like it. I like the smell.
Okay. So I'm not a rosé fan. To start with, so I wouldn't take my opinion, but I'm not loving this.
See, I like
I'm
this
not
one.
loving. Do you remember that one we had? I think it was episode 2.
Beatrice.
That one. Oh, you do. So she does know. I like that one a lot better than this.
I like that one better, but this is in the same line with it. It's not sweet.
But I feel like I'm already going to get a headache.
Well, again, no matter what, you're dealing with the sugar in it. But I do think that
I'm not loving it.
The branding is pretty spectacular.
I like this. This would be so great on like a bachelorette. Well, men don't generally, I shouldn't say that, but they don't generally break out on bachelor parties. Let's get the rosé.
Oh yeah, and the cork has little kiss.
Oh, this is super
lipstick.
cute. This is really, I want to get this on because this is like super cute.
That's again a really nice branding.
Great branding.
I like it. I love the St. Beatrice. I think this one's good because it's a little bit stronger, but still not that sweet thing that you get with so many bad rosés.
So on a 1 to 10.
This one, I like the Beatrice better, so I'm going to give this one about a 6.
I was going to say a 6 too. I'm going to give it a 6.
This is what I call an outstanding pool wine on a hot day in Florida.
I like the other one better. So how much is this one, Chris?
This one is $24.
And how much is that St. Beatrice?
St. Beatrice was under 20, but it's hard to get.
Is it? It's like that whiskey that your husband always talks about.
Yes.
What is it called?
The Wellers?
Yes, the Wellers.
Yeah.
That is like,
it's
like
everybody
says it's impossible to get, but reasonable.
Yeah. All right. So I think this was a fun one to have with it. But
well,
I mean,
because you had this picture, I have to take a picture of her with this on. So you guys are all going to witness this. I'm currently taking a picture of her drinking Send Nudes and the hat, which is called
a habit.
A habit. All righty.
I do think that what we talked about today was a little sad, a little tragic in a way, but at the same time, damn funny.
It was tragic?
I
didn't think it was tragic.
Somebody got hit because he was watching porn in a school zone.
But we're gonna, but I don't think it's tragic because it was in a school zone and nobody severely got hurt.
That's true.
And we are going to be optimistic that it was just a simple fender bender and she had a scratch on the car and she was fine.
Yep.
And if you were the person this happened to, we are sorry that happened to you.
We are definitely sorry. And again, truly, Alexis not starting her own OnlyFans site.
Wait, if you are the person that this happened to, I recommend that you consult an attorney.
Absolutely. And again, don't send nudes on company equipment. And probably, again, it's a different generation, but this stuff lives forever. And whatever service you're using gets to own it back to our...
Well, and then there's the whole thing, which is illegal, but revenge porn.
Oh, God,
so
yes.
You need to really think about who you're sending those to. So unless you want your phone to be subpoenaed and you want them to be like, you have an amazing sex life, then go ahead.
A lot of people make a lot of money on the site. But
because as a side note, wasn't there a movie or somebody that said you should send all those pictures? Oh, that shows Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek.
Cheers.
And again, we don't ever want anybody watching this podcast to have send nudes and their name as a headline in the news.
To get fired.
We will talk about you.
Or to get fired.
We'll talk about you.
All right. So cheers, everybody.